Hey guys, so just a really quick continuation here of my last video where I created this full width Elementor hero section. I saw a few images online and I've seen websites do this where they have a nice little border that frames the content of your hero. And it's you know, actually inset from the top, bottom, and left and right so that it kind of overlaps each other. I immediately thought of using the border for something like this, and maybe we could get some sort of padding to move the border inside of the container. But borders really just no matter if you use them on the outside or if they're inset borders, they are along the edges, and there's not really a way to add padding to that to push them in. So I did end up writing a little bit of CSS, and I'll paste it in here so you can see what I'm talking about. So here we go. It's these left, bottom, right, and top borders that I think give the page quite a nice modern look. And I'll just take you through the CSS really quickly. It looks a little bit more complicated than it actually is, and there's some cool properties of CSS here. So selector, we're using the Elementor selector, which is actually just on the main container of this page. I've set the position to relative here just to show you that if you're using pseudo-elements like we are later on, you do need your element to have some sort of position, but Elementor sections actually come with this as default. So I can remove that. There won't be any change. I just want to show you. So then we are using a pseudo-element. These pseudo-elements do require content, even if it's empty, to actually show up. The position is going to be absolute with an inset of 0, which will actually stretch our pseudo-element to cover our entire container. Pointer events, we don't want anybody grabbing these, or we really want no mouse interaction with these whatsoever. So we'll set the pointer events to none. Z-index, I'm sure you're aware of what that is. I have it set to 5. You can set it to whatever you like, just to make sure that it's above all the other content on your website. Now here's where we get into a bit of an interesting part of this whole thing with CSS. Normally a background image, you might throw in a URL or something like that. But you can actually use, you can give it a bunch of properties separated by commas. And what I've done here, we're not actually, creating, these lines aren't actually gradients. They're just white lines with a transparency value of 0.4. And if you give this background image a couple different, arguments here, we can actually look further down to see what we can do with them. So basically, this is just drawing, drawing some white lines. As you can see there, it's white 0.4, white 0.4. There's no linear gradient, but we do have to use that to throw this in there. Background repeat, we don't want any repeating of the background. If I take this off, it's probably just going to make a million of these white lines. There you go. So we only need 4 of them. So we'll keep it like that. Then background size, the first 2 are the top and the bottom lines. So as you can see, it's 100% width and 1 pixel height. And then the left and right lines, they're 1 pixel width and 100% height of the page. Then we get into, so as you can see, like the background size and position target each of these linear gradient lines individually. So basically we're creating a line, then we're giving it a width and a height. Now we're going to get into the position. So the top line is going to be centered in the page, and it's going to be 3% down from the top. Then it's because we have width and then height, right? So the bottom line is going to be centered in the page, and then it's going to be like we're calculating 97% because we want this. You can change this to whatever you'd like. Whether it be 5. Just to that just increase the top and the bottom padding, basically these lines. We'll keep it at 3 for now. But just to show you that you can change anything you'd like here, including the color, the width here. If I change the width to 5, as you can see up at the top, that got a little thicker. So then, so this is going to be the left line. So it's 3% off from the left and centered vertically. And then this is 97% off from the left and centered vertically as well. So that's the right line there. So, it looks pretty cool, I think. I think this is a cool feature that I've seen on a few websites online. If this is helpful to you, leave me a like. I'll put the code in the description so you can do it, and I'll add back the selector relative just in case. But yeah, if you have any questions or if you want any help with anything Elementor related, let me know. And thanks so much for watching.